Fine, are we good? Good to go, yeah?
Mic check.
Okay, that one, yeah. Hello and welcome to episode 28 of the GVE London Podcast. And today I have my lovely George, and my lovely Andreas. Okay, anyway, we're going to be talking about everything supercars and I'm going to keep that in. Yeah, okay, fine. Fucking hell.
Introduced me as like
My lovely.
your 1-year-old son.
Okay. Anyway, we're talking about supercars today, and we're talking about the industry, and we're talking about everything that goes around it. So, you start, George.
Well, I think it's been quite a turbulent time in the market. We touched on this before. We've had a lot of ups and downs. We've had a market correction, I think is probably a safe way of calling it. A lot of prices have crashed, but at the same time, buyers are coming out of nowhere now because people who couldn't afford the likes of 992 Turbo S's or even let's say GT3 RS's at the peak of their prices can now afford them because they've dropped in value so much.
You know, it's not just the supercar market that's corrected itself. Like, every single person that I speak to from property or watches, every single market has taken a dip recently, right?
Yeah.
Well, especially in the luxury segment anyway. So this wasn't just a supercar thing.
Yeah.
Right? Coming out of COVID, people felt a massive desire to go and spend a lot of money, right? And they were willing to pay those premiums, and they had cheap interest rates, and they had, you know, whatever you want to call it. I'm sure a lot of people done some dodgy stuff with bounce back loans back then as well, right?
Yep.
Buying up as many cars as they wanted to. So now reality's starting to, reality's starting to set in. But you're totally right. There was a lot of clever people back then that were saying, I'm not going to pay crazy premiums for this car. I'd much rather wait because I know something around the corner will mean that the prices come back down again.
Well, the good thing is, 100% you're spot on. And now people are realizing that the market's stabilizing a bit. So the rapid drops that we were seeing in the past 5 or 6 months have now sort of stabilized, and the market's stabilizing. And now buyers are coming out of the rocks and coming out from behind the rocks and they're buying it for the current prices. I mean, a current example at the moment is G63s. They were crashing like nobody's business, and you were talking about brand new cars which were going for premiums of 20 or 30,000 pounds over list, now coming to 20,000 pounds under list. So that was like continuously falling. Suddenly it was 5 grand under list, 10 grand, 15 grand, and then went to the peak of it, 20 grand under list, and now it's just stabilized. They haven't really been going down anymore. So I think we're realizing that.
So how much does a new G63 cost right now?
So a Magno edition is 193 before options, but you can't really get many.
And list on that would have been?
Yeah,
Same.
list is
That's
193.
Oh, a list is not 193?
List price,
and
yeah.
So basically you'll buy one for list now?
You could get one for 15 grand off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's 15 grand off brand new, but if you find one with a couple hundred miles in it, we saw one online, I think advertised for about 20, 25,000 off list.
God. Well, now, actually, when you put it like that, 193 less 20 becomes 173, and that's getting closer to the list price that it was last year.
Yep.
Before they put the increase in.
The list price of the standard G63 before
Standard
options.
one. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a massive difference now. Wow. And the funny thing is, we touched on this briefly during the week, but the facelift G63 has just been released. And the differences in the model is nowhere close to the difference that you would have found in the 2018 upgrade.
Yeah.
So the shape is pretty much identical. They've changed very, very minor bits of the front bumper, lower revised front bumper. Interior is different with the revised upgraded infotainment system and the touchscreen, but not as big of a difference. That
So the actual drive isn't going to be so...
Slightly upgraded brake horsepower, but it's the same engine. But you could have mapped the current G63s to a higher brake horsepower.
That's so funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
They just map the same thing, and then they can get away with charging so much more.
Exactly.
Something that you can get done for what? How much is it to map a G63?
Probably 500 quid. You can get
500 quid. Yeah. Yet you'd go and probably spend probably like 10,000 pounds more on the newest version.
Oh yeah. Being up to
It's not, I don't think it's even worth
What,
it.
50?
Probably 50 has a difference. So the current, let's say if you find something about 1,000 miles on it, like we were saying, the Magnas you can get for 170. The brand new ones, they've released the pricing. So
Yeah.
a Magno edition before options is going to be 200,000.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So let's say that gets
Add
to
options onto it.
210
Yeah.
with the performance pack and all the carbon and whatever.
Bloody hell.
And then surely there has to be a premium. So then you're going to be paying 220. So if these cars were going, if you were able to pick it up for 170 and you're paying 220, it's a difference of the best part of 50 grand.
Bloody hell.
The one difference that's slightly exciting on the G63 is the new suspension. So they have now introduced, I don't think it's air suspension, but they've completely changed it and revised it so that the wheels balance themselves out as you're going around terrains and rough terrains and corners. That's going to be interesting to see. So if that change is big enough, then that could justify people wanting to buy the facelift.
I do love a G63, but actually we've not been selling a lot of those recently, right? We've been selling a lot more Lamborghini Uruses.
Urus has been really good news.
Uruses have kicked off. Like,
They've
yeah, the
kicked
past
off,
2
right?
months, the Uruses, we've like sold so many of them. But they're
And
right,
what's the sweet spot in terms of pricing?
170 to 200.
Oh, but then it makes sense, right? 170 to 200,
Yeah.
and you're putting up that against a G63.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I think I'd take a Urus all day
yeah.
long.
Oh,
100%.
100%.
1,000,000%.
Right.
Heritage buying Lamborghini in comparison to Mercedes. Mercedes is not an average car, but you don't put it in the same bracket as a Lambo. The Lambo has a status, it's got the prestige, and just in general, someone will pay a premium just for the Lambo badge. The G63 and the Urus can't be in the same price bracket. Definitely can't.
But notoriously, the G63s have always maintained their value quite well over the years. Like they'll come down, but they've still kind of don't come down like an Audi level. Do you know what I'm saying? Like RSQA or
But
something like that.
that's why it was so odd to see in the past 5 to 6 months the crash on the G63s. Like
Yeah.
rapid decline in
But they were
the value.
overinflated. They were seriously overinflated. But look, at the end of the day, markets like this become overinflated. And we saw this in the recent podcast that we done with the Watchfinder guy. But it's very simple. Suddenly, Mr. Jones sees that he can make 20 grand on a premium on that G63. So then he goes and tells his mate. He goes and puts an order in only for the purpose of flipping that car. And suddenly there's a shed load. It's not traders that are doing it now, speculating.
Honestly.
It's a shed load of normal individuals that have bought a C-Class or an S-Class in the past, and now suddenly they can use their buying history to buy a G63 just to flip. And so it just became,
We
cycle, right?
We did a promo, all through social media where we were requesting order slots. This was probably the best part of 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
Saying if you've got access to buy yourself a new G63 or a Urus or whatever it was at the time that we really wanted, we'll buy your order slot. And the amount of inquiries we had through people who didn't even know what they were talking about.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, I'm sure I can buy a G63. I've got decent history. I've bought a couple of Mercs, but I'm really excited by what you're saying. I've never done this before, but let's do it. So can you imagine on the back of what we were doing, all of a sudden we were having people who were gardeners who were saying, I can buy a car through my business and keep it back qualifying and buy a G63.
Wow.
Can I do this?
It's crazy, isn't it?
So that is, literally an example of what you're saying, that people who had no clue about the car market were just coming out of nowhere saying, I want to get involved in this. The funny thing is that we're generalizing the market as a whole, saying it's come down or it's stabilized.
Yeah.
It's not that simple. That's not the case. So we've got the likes of the Revuelto.
Are they being sold off market?
100%. I mean, the thing is, they were delayed from December. So the first bunch of units were meant to be delivered in the UK in December, and I think they're having an issue with locating carbon parts and things like that. So it built up a demand, people saying, okay, my one's being pushed back now. I really want one, ASAP. We were getting people saying, I'll pay up to £120,000 over if you get me one of the first ones in the UK. So there is a couple that are being offered around at the moment. There's, won't give away the spec, but there's a few behind the scenes that are being offered around. And I know one person that sold his today to another exporter.
Oof.
Not sure where it's going, but he got strong money for it. He's not telling me the exact figure because he doesn't want to give it away, but I think it's the best part of 100,000 over list.
Oof, jeez.
Which is a lot because, believe me, tried to call around and see what was the best we could get. I think he got lucky on that one.
He got lucky.
That's not...
Realistic. aftermarket sale price on that should be, say, about 80
The
grand?
sell price.
No,
is
sorry.
the purchase.
Premium that we should pay.
About 60. I think is realistic.
60?
60 is realistic until
I think we
spring.
should pay 40. Yeah?
I don't think premiums should be allowed in this world. I think we should be offered them for list.
Yeah. Okay, so 80 grand it is. 80 grand it is. Anyway, Andreas, what cars are we buying at the moment?
What cars? Well, plenty have come in. One that's sort of caught the eye of a lot of people is this lovely 720S we have in here. This is the Velocity Special Edition.
Okay, what's so special about it?
So when McLaren launched the 720, they wanted to showcase their MSO department and what MSO can do. So they gave us this lovely sort of fading sort of two-tone red 720. So it sort of fades from Nigella red into Volcano red. So it just goes one, and it's a magnificent paint job.
How much would the guy have spent?
So this was £100,000 above lists, about more than a 720. So
What, just for the paint?
So it included a few other options. But yeah, it was 100 grand above the normal 720S. So the paint job probably would have been in excess of 30, 40, 50 grand, whatever it was, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's probably one of the best paint jobs I've seen in the showroom for a long time.
So we get offered probably around 100 to 120 cars a week, right? Out of those, what trends are you seeing at the moment? Like, what are the most popular cars that you're being offered? And, why are people trying to sell those?
I mean, I don't think there's one in particular. There's a good variety of cars, still plenty of SUVs, a lot of Uruses, G-Wagons, but also just regular cars as well, like what we normally sell. Hurricanes, 720s, 570s. I don't think there's any specifically. I think a lot of people just are looking to sell now. I think the market has stabilised. It's not, as George said before, it's not coming down anymore. So I think it is quite a good time. People are looking to buy now, coming into spring. So,
Okay, so if I was to say today you had, the perfect cars being offered to you, what are the top 5 perfect cars that you want? Oh, obviously, like hypercars aside, right?
Yeah.
But
First off,
ones that, what defines a perfect car for a supercar showroom is how quick can we turn it?
Yeah.
And, profit's good, but I think the key thing is it's
quick.
all great having a good amount of profit in a car, but if we're sitting on it for a year, then it's
The
not
one
good,
thing that's come to my head while you said that is just straight deals. So while you're saying that, the perfect cars for us to be offered are off-market, really sought-after cars that aren't available online. So
One went
stuff
out
that we
today.
can sell straight away. So Revueltos, Purasangs.
We delivered one today.
Sorry?
We delivered one today. The SLR.
SLR, yeah. Things like
SLR
that
Roadster,
that are just
off
really
market.
rare. You can't
Rare.
find much of them online.
Yep, there's not one online.
At the moment, there's a bit of a demand for delivery mileage 765 LTs. Been asking around, there's hardly anything out there.
Really?
So if there's anyone who's got a delivery mileage 765 that they've kept away,
Have those prices come down a fair bit, haven't they?
they
765.
came down last year and have been rock solid since. Haven't moved, haven't come down. So it's quite I wouldn't call it the best example, but another competitor have tried to crash the market by pricing one very cheap, a coupe.
Like, how much?
A 765 is probably 15 grand too cheap.
Really?
But
And what price was it at then?
it was
275.
275, you know the car I'm talking about. Yeah.
275 for a 765 LT.
Yep.
Coupe.
And the funny thing,
that is known as like being one of the best cars made. I mean, obviously the Spider they said was even better, right?
yeah,
But it is one of the best cars made in the last decade, I would have thought, right?
100%. I think to date it's one of the best driving cars.
Yep.
But the funny thing is, it all comes down to spec. If someone's spending the best part of $250,000 or just over, they'll spend that bit extra to get the spec they want. The colour they had wasn't the best and the interior wasn't great. So in that time they had that car advertised at 275, we've gone and managed to secure a higher price on a 765 that we've had off market.
Oh, wow.
Because it's in a much more sought after colour combination.
Got it.
So it's really important that the cars are spec'd right when it comes to that sort of price, and then you can justify the price point. And I think we've seen it in the past where when the 675s were out, if they were in the wrong colour, they wouldn't sell. The ones in the bright colours or the ones that were in a sought after or demanded colour would fly off. So really, really spec dependent cars.
I had a friend recently talking about delays on supercars, but he's had a deposit on a 4x4 squared Mercedes for some time, right? And suddenly he got a letter through the post, and he was just like, "You won't believe it." After all this time, he was supposed to be getting a first quarter this year, and it said because of some problems that they've had in the US that it's being pretty much put off indefinitely until further notice, whatever.
The chassis pretty much snapped in half on a car in the US.
Really?
Chassis snapped in half in the US. Turns out that the chassis wasn't stable enough to hold something of that weight.
It probably had like weight in the back as well, or something like that, right?
Something must have happened, but it just wasn't safe. And they said if the car ever went through an MOT, once it was old enough, it wouldn't pass. It just wasn't safe enough. So they had to take all of those cars off the road, and any future orders that people had to put on hold. So there's talks that there isn't going to be a G63 squared, and if there is, we're talking 2 or 3 years down the line.
Wow.
So unfortunately, anyone who's had a G63 squared count themselves very lucky, because they had one of the only ones. Every other one has been recalled back, and anything that was meant to be delivered is not happening now. Another one that's not safe for the road now as well. I can't remember if you touched on this before, but the Carrera GTs.
Oh,
No
yes, they are.
The Carrera
They're off
GTs
the road.
had an issue
Suspension issue.
where they won't pass an MOT. So every
Really?
Carrera GT, suspension
But
issues.
wasn't that the
corroding.
one the Fast and Furious guy died?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Paul Walker. Yeah.
Wow. But
Yeah.
why are they not safe?
I think it's a suspension issue or something that's popped up. It's not safe for the road. So then now an MOT failure for anyone who drives one, it just can't pass the MOT. So now Porsche are doing a recall on every Carrera GT to try and figure out how to either change the suspension or do something to the car to make it roadworthy. Yeah.
That's
without
crazy.
having to charge the customer something. So
Unbelievable.
the prices of the Carrera GTs have been going crazy. Like we thought, wow, we sold a Carrera GT for $1 million when they were going for 600,000. That's a massive increase.
Yeah.
They went up to 2 million at a point, and now it's all just come to a halt. You buy a Carrera GT and you can't even drive it on the road. What's the point of owning one? But
Shit, did it go to 2 mil?
yeah. Honestly, some cars
The
that
one
we've
that got
sold.
away.
Yeah, some cars that we've sold and you just think, I can't believe it. Why did we
We
not
just
sell
made
that?
more money just sitting on a bunch of cars, like select cars, and just sat back,
Yeah.
relax.
You say that, but then it's loss of opportunity, right?
Yeah, no,
that money
100%.
turning over into other cars.
I still
100%.
remember when I was at Porsche in 2017, we had a Carrera GT, black on black.
$500,000.
Couldn't sell it.
Oh, really?
Went to the auction.
And-
Could
and-
not sell it.
It went to the auction. Yeah.
Just do some subtitles, guys.
Aussie accents. But no, go on. So
It went to the auction, and they, I think it went for about 550 grand.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was list price on a Carrera GT?
What were they? They were 800.
I would have thought that they were around 400 grand, something like that. when
So
they
back
came
in
out.
2005, that's some
Well,
serious
Enzos
money
were
spending.
500 grand, weren't they? So then, it would have been cheaper than an Enzo. 400, 450.
Wow.
Yeah, that is a good investment. I actually, like we say, no matter whichever way you look at it, right? If you buy right and you hold for 10 years, you're laughing. You're absolutely laughing. And one thing that I still see as being like that is the Bugatti Veyron.
Yep.
Surely,
Yep.
surely it's got
100%.
to go to 10
I was going to say
mil.
exactly the same.
I
as that.
guarantee you, right? And if anybody wants to put a bet against
Yeah.
me, but it sounds like you guys don't.
We agree with you.
That I reckon it's going to be a £10 million car within the next decade.
So something industry shattering has just happened with the Veyrons.
Go on.
At the moment, if you look at the UK market, there's only one advertised online, and that's got the best part of 20,000 miles in it, and it's up for sale for £1 million.
Yeah.
In the States, just recently, there was an auction, or an auction, as Andreas likes to call it. Action.
Yeah.
I think it was can't remember, it may have been a Super Sports, but it was a special edition Veyron, delivery mileage, which if it were advertised online, it'd probably go for about 1.6, 1.7 with 1,000, 2,000 miles in it.
Yeah.
It went for sale for over $3 million in the US on an
So
auction.
about 2.5 mil quid.
So now,
Or 2.4.
all of a sudden, it's creating a hype on the Veyron market where people are trying to find low mileage cars. Maybe they're seeing this big raise in prices starting to happen.
Think about it, right? Would you rather have a Banksy on your wall, right, that you've gone and paid 3-4 mil quid for, which is great because they're great investments. We know that once he dies, right? This is a grim thing to talk about, but once Banksy dies, that thing is going to double in value easily, right? But how much enjoyment do you get out of it? Like, I get it. There's like this kind of, your friends come around, you show them that you've got a Banksy and it's a great investment. It's perfect, right? But having a Bugatti Veyron, which is a work of art in itself, in your garage, and you show your mates that, and then you're like, listen, do you want to go out for a drive?
Out for a drive. Do you want to hear it? Do you want to
Yeah.
feel the vibration? Do you want to see the mechanisms? There's so much more in just owning a car than just owning a piece of painting that sits static on a wall.
Yeah, I look, there's always a place for paintings as well, don't get me wrong, but bloody hell, there's no way that you can buy 3 Veyrons for one Banksy painting.
Yeah.
You
It's
see what I'm
slightly
saying?
off topic and my mind's going all over when I'm thinking about this, but he said no one knows who Banksy is.
Yeah.
So how do we know when he's going to pass away? How do we know he doesn't pass his legacy on to his son?
There's a lot of, I mean, people in the world, in that world, supposedly know who he is, right?
Oh, really?
And there's lots of, it all points to one direction, right? But they've never actually caught him.
So this week we had the pleasure of having the R8 Adventures group come to the showroom in honour of the end of the production line of the Audi R8. So let's have a look at how it went. Hey guys, GVE London, welcome to our first ever R8 meet. We're here on a Saturday morning. We're in celebration of the fantastic Audi R8. As we all know, the car came to the end of its production last week. So they've been making this fantastic supercar for 18 years. And we thought we'd give it a bit of a lovely celebration, a bit of a send-off. Hi Shah, how are you? What'd you come in today, Shah?
We came in that black R8 over there.
What do you love about your R8?
Everything.
Everything. So it's a Gen 1 facelift in a manual. Very nice. Okay. Beautiful. Very nice. So let's have a look. Plenty of choices here. Let's go inside. Welcome, guys. Here he is, the main man, Paul. Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks.
You're live on our TikTok.
No, I should have done my hair.
No, that's all right. I know, me too, right? Where have you come in from today?
So I've travelled up from Weston-super-Mare.
Okay.
Club's been running 2.5 years. We have 600 R8s in the club across the country from Scotland to Cornwall. And we do as it says, go out on adventures.
And tell us about your R8, Paul. What have you got?
So I've got a 2016 V10 Plus. It's had various modifications.
I was going to say, a few modifications.
It's got KW has kit on to lower it. It's got 20 inch on the front, 21 on the back to give it a perfect ride height.
Yes, yep.
No air ride.
No air ride.
Could do with that sometimes.
It's very low.
Yes.
It's very low.
It's had a few scrapes.
I was going to say, yeah. How's it go over speed bumps? Because there's no lift.
There's no lift at all.
No lift?
No. So
okay.
It's all about the driving angle.
Right. Okay.
And it's rather noisy because it's got a Larini Club Sport exhaust.
A Larini. Okay. There's a few questions of what those exhaust was, but
yes.
There's the answer there. Larini exhaust, everyone. Thanks, Paul. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for hosting. Thanks for coming in. Let's go outside, guys. Let's see some more people. Boys, Jay, come on. We're live on our guys. This is Always Sports Plus. Tell me about your lovely R8.
R8, bought it about 6 months ago.
Yep.
What I've done to it, let's see. I've put the front splitter on. I think that's made a massive difference. Side skirts as well. Chameleon front tints. Wings at the wings at the back. That's about it. It's stock.
Leo, you bought yourself a new car.
Yeah.
Tell me about your new car.
C63S.
Yeah.
Yeah, not much to say about it really.
4-litre twin turbo V8.
Yeah.
There's plenty to say.
500
about
brake. Bucket seats.
Yeah.
Not great for my back.
How's your back? Yeah.
Yeah, not great.
So what's your favourite car in the showroom that isn't an R8 or a C63?
It is the 765 LT.
Okay.
I think I'll get that next.
The coupe or the Spider? Because we've got two in there.
The Spider.
Okay.
Yeah. Beautiful,
Nice.
I think.
Leo?
Me, it's got to be the black SV.
The black SV?
Yeah, my dream car.
Oh, really?
Favourite car, yeah.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming
very
down.
much. No worries.
Thank you so much.
Gonna head
R8s everywhere. Look at that. V10s, V8s. Any, manual transmission. Very nice. George's on live.
Welcome to the world of R8s. Which R8 is your people's favourites? Get in the comments.
Yes.
Which R8s? I've got my own one that I actually really like. I really like one of them. That white with the carbon spoiler and stuff.
white with the carbon spoiler.
The contrast is really nice. I like that.
Nice.
But the ultimate one, the yellow one pops in there. I'm pretty sure some famous chef drives it. Is he a famous chef or is he...
Funny guy. Cool. So what are we doing? We're going to start a car, yeah? Yeah. Jake, which car are we going to start? Something loud. Okay. Yes, the LFA. Yes. Okay, guys. Lexus LFA. Come on. One of 500 in the world. Very different sound to obviously an R8 V10 and a Hurricane. Well, no, the Hurricane V10, but the Hurricane does sound different to the R8. So then we've got Carrera GT as well, which is another V10 that sounds very different. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
And you've come in a lovely R8 today. Tell us about it.
I got it about 2 years ago.
Yes.
It was a silver grey colour.
Okay.
So I had it wrapped in a grass green.
Yes.
And then had it ceramic coated to try and protect the wrap.
Okay.
The next thing I'm going to have done to it is I've bought a F1 Top Gear exhaust.
Oh, good choice. So you got the stock exhaust at the moment.
I think so, yeah.
Okay,
It's very
and it's
quiet.
a V8, is it? Your car is
It's a V8,
V8,
yes.
yeah, and they're quite quiet from the factory out there, the V8s.
Yeah.
It does need an exhaust.
So we went on a tour of Wales last weekend, and when I watched the
Okay.
videos back and I see all the other cars,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
my car is so quiet
Oh,
at the
is
back
it?
there.
Time for an exhaust. And the F1, that's a good one. The Top Gear one, that's a good exhaust. And what's the favourite car in the showroom that isn't an R8?
The Lamborghini Hurricane
STO?
STO,
Yep.
matte black with the blue
Yes.
trim.
Yes.
That
Very good. Yeah.
it just looks really good.
Yeah. It's
So I'll have
lovely.
the R8 for the popping.
Yep.
And I'll have the Hurricane for the stealth mode.
Yes.
For the beast
Good
mode.
choice. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming in today.
I really enjoyed it.
No worries at all. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
So anyway, have you had any interesting run-ins with some customers lately?
It's a funny story we had recently. The customer told me that he spec'd his Ferrari Roma and he kept getting the wrong spec. He wanted it with this orange Hermes-like interior and they kept getting the colour wrong. They came first with terracotta, which I think is like a dark tan, and then they came with Koyo. And they kept coming with tan colours and he wanted it with an orange interior. I think it got to the third point and he was like, do you know what? I'm done. Like, I'm suing you guys for how long it's taken for me to own this, like for me to get this car. They've dropped in value. I don't want that car, full stop. Lo and behold, they've allowed him to spec his Ferrari Purosangue.
Oh, no way.
So now he has been offered this car and off the radar, he's made the phone call saying, what do you think I can get if I flip this car? So it's quite interesting to know, and hopefully Ferrari don't know who we're talking about here, but if they've made those mistakes, are they then just gifting this customer to stop a court case from happening the best part of £100,000 by saying, do you know what, we don't want the hassle, take this car, as a way of just saying, you're still buying a car from us, you're doing whatever you want, we'll turn a blind eye, you go and flip it for £100,000, we don't care.
You know, this is a funny one. In talking about like them, Ferrari love trying to keep their prices high, right? So they limit supply.
Yeah.
Simple. That's been happening for the last 20, 30 years with these kinds of brands, right? And you get it with watchmakers. But you also get it with handbag makers as well. And I was sat with somebody recently, and she'd gone into Hermes back in the day, 20 years ago, and went downstairs and they were showing her a selection of stock, and they were like, oh yeah, you know those ones, we're gonna have to ban those. And
Ban
like,
MS?
yeah, these like back in those times there would have been like 10, 15 grand bags. She's like, yeah, been ordered by head office to burn them. And it was because to maintain the price. To maintain the price of that particular style of bag.
Supply.
Yeah,
Shorten
so
the
that there's
supply.
not a
why-
surplus of that bag.
Why would they make more in the first place? Did they think that they were going to sell it?
Yeah, I don't know. But
crazy.
it's supposedly a thing that's been happening for ages with handbags. But it goes to show, isn't it? Like, if you restrict supply, people want what they can't get.
Yeah.
They make people jump through hurdles just to get it. It's crazy.
Another manufacturer that are renowned for making sure that their supply is their supply is weaker than the demand is Porsche. They always put fewer cars out than what people want. However, they've seen what's happening with the GT3 RSs, and they've seen how much the overs are achieving and what's happening. I mean, at a stage, they were going for the best part of £200,000 over list.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
We've been told by a good friend and client of ours who is GT3 RS owner that every dealer in the country is now receiving an additional 10 GT3 RS units.
Bloody hell.
So
Wow.
I don't think they're so happy about the overs that are being made in the car, and they want a bit more in on that action. So let's see what happens to the market there.
Well, it's only good for us, right? Because at the end of the day, if they're getting 10 each, that means that at some point we're going to have a bunch of people that are going to be calling you saying, I want to sell my GT3 RS. And then we have like 5 GT3 RSs in there.
5, we'll take every single one of them.
You know, we talk about the industry, we talk about pricing, we talk about what we're buying, what we're selling. I think one thing that we don't talk about enough is customer stories. Because honestly, we've been quite close to having a TV series down here a few times now, right? And honestly, on a day-to-day basis, we constantly have this chat, right? You know, you can make a movie about the shit that we go through on a daily.
There's so many different scenarios that happen down here. Because we, like you said, we see customers and deal with customers from all different walks of life. So.
All different walks of life. So I think, why don't we start having a regular segment on the internal podcast where we talk about funny customer stories? Yeah, so go on, tell us.
Okay, there's one. But this is a customer who collected his car from us. So he bought a Urus, a Lamborghini Urus, and our in-house photographer, Ed, decided it'd be a good idea to start doing some pictures. So he...
Pictures of him.
Pictures of him doing the handover with the car.
Yeah.
So he came with someone else. Someone else was with him to collect the car. Now, for those people who don't understand, Ed is quite a straightforward, to the point person. And if he says he wants something done, he's like, I want the picture this way, you do this, do that. He directs people.
Yeah.
And he's not, which is a good
As
trait.
he should.
It's a good trait. Good trait. But learn about the person first before you direct them. Yeah. So, come upstairs and I see on Ed's screen, he's got pictures of this guy who's picked up his Urus holding this lady around in arms in front of him.
Like a couple. Like a couple.
Yeah, like a couple. Grabbing her from the waist. I said, Ed, were they standing like that? And he's like, no, they're a couple. I'm telling them, why are you standing so far apart? Come closer, hold her. Do this, do that. I'm like, Ed, that's his mum. And Ed's like, no, they're a couple. No. Guaranteed, Ed, that is his mum. For a fact, we've been dealing with this guy for the past 3-4 weeks. That's his mum. He's not married. That was quite a funny story. And
them just being like innocent, kind of, okay, fine,
you know
we'll just do whatever you tell us to do. We'll do it.
If we can blur their faces or what, but we need to put something in the picture out there. You need to see this. The whole office was surrounding the screen watching this guy hold his mother in his arms in front, almost how you see like romantic pre-wedding pictures taken.
You know what one thing that comes to mind from ages ago when we done a video of somebody getting their car, and it was before the days of the turntable, and this guy starts shaking with your hand. One of the previous guys, and he just wouldn't stop shaking his hand. We need to put that back in, blur some faces again, right? Yeah. But it was just the funniest thing.
That was just when we started recording moments like interactions with handovers and stuff. And he was like, okay, give us a verbal review over camera. Yeah. And introduced him, shook his hand, and he's talking to him for 2 minutes while he's just holding his hand.
Shaking his hand.
That was hilarious.
There's another funny stories from you?
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the funny ones that springs to mind was when we had a customer of ours that also does OnlyFans, and he part exchange.
Do you do it too?
No, as in other customers that do OnlyFans. I don't do OnlyFans.
But you do look like a porn star.
And you do watch OnlyFans.
I'm not Johnny Sins, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not Johnny Sins.
I mean, okay, fine. You don't look like him anymore.
Okay.
But there's another person that you resemble.
Can we take
And
the
you know
topic
what?
off me and back onto this story,
No,
please?
because you are probably one of the most Google people in the world. No, actually, no, that's not you. That's Andrew. But go on,
And I'm
go
not
on.
Andrew Tate either. So,
Yeah, he is a chef, isn't
oh
he?
my God, another one. It's just bald with a beard. Anyway, so this gentleman did OnlyFans, and he decided I bought a new car from us, and he gave us his. We loaned him a car. I think we loaned him a car for a week, and the loan car came back, and we opened up the boot, and there was a pair of his underwear in the back.
Oh, lovely.
So I think what he told me, I asked him about it. He said he auctions them off to his viewers. Yeah,
Auctions, yeah.
auctions.
Okay.
Auction. So it's just racism. It's just
So he
absolute
auctions his
racism.
underwear off,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I
And
don't
that was
know
in the
what
back.
I'd get for my underwear, man. Honestly,
Yeah.
I think probably like
I'd start at 50.
yeah, pence. Yeah. But anyway, so no, and then we got that underwear.
Yeah.
And we put it in George's car.
Yeah, they put it in George's car. We did
Oh,
as a
that's-
joke.
You were in on it.
Yes. Put it in George's
You know the
car.
worst
Okay,
thing
cool.
about it is it was in the middle of summer. It was in the 720, which got quite warm in the middle because the engine was right behind it.
Okay. And so you could smell something in the.
Just like something's a bit weird over here. What's
You're
going
like, I
on?
could smell a crotch.
Normally
right?
it smell like nice Omri Namad oud in the car, something nice. I was like, what the hell is going on? And it's a really hot day. Open it up. And
All I
it's-
can smell is penis.
all I could smell was semen.
That's disgusting. Oh my god. That's
not a
terrible.
funny
We've
joke.
got kids watching this.
That was not a funny joke to whoever did that.
Yeah, it was. It was very funny, actually. It was
No,
very funny.
don't.
Okay.
Thank you for that. But
Yeah.
And then,
and then there's one more story. Actually,
All right,
that
go on
happened-
then.
yes,
Go on.
yes.
One more story that happened this week. It was actually over the last weekend. So I've just agreed to deal with a good client of ours, a repeat customer, does a lot of business. Bought a Ferrari F8. Hates it. Hates Ferraris. He's more of a McLaren sort of buyer. And says, do you know what? I don't want the car. Get me into something. I want a 765. Get me into a 765. So we're discussing a deal, going back and forward. Almost come to a deal on a Friday night. And I was like, okay, brilliant, do it. But we have to celebrate over drinks. And then nothing happens that night. We're deciding to do it on a Saturday. Get a message from him 5:30 in the morning. No context whatsoever, just saying, come on, Barbie, let's go party. Imagine
No
receiving
way.
that message from your
No
customer who's been probably spent the best part of £2 million with you in the past 4 or 5 years. And you received that message, and then funny enough, I was still awake at that time, so I responded back saying...
So what time were you awake?
5:30 in the morning.
Oh my
saying,
God.
In the middle of something at the moment, probably not. And then he says, George, where are you? I'm going to pick you up and we're going to a swingers club.
Oh my god.
It's like, I didn't go, by the way. I didn't go to the swingers club. But
Bullshit.
it's funny to know that, like you said, our customers come from all walks of life, but they still know how to have a good time. These guys are spending millions of pounds.
I think that's the difference with them coming to us as well, and I think that's the key thing, that you do end up becoming friends with a lot of these guys, right?
Yeah.
And obviously there's lines, we don't cross them, but it's nice to have that, you know, friendly relationship where they can feel like, oh, that's not just a showroom where I'm just going to quickly pick my car up and F off, right?
Yeah.
It's oh, that's my mate. That guy's my mate, and you know he'll have a laugh and joke with you over the weekend as well.
It's super important, especially in luxury sales like this as well. It's such a niche community that we deal with.
Yeah.
It's not a mainstream marketplace that we're advertising to. So all of these buyers who are buying these cars, we should know every single one in the country, essentially, people who are buying these cars, and that's the way we deal with them. So if we're their friends, it's almost now got to a point that people will contact us before buying a car from someone else, saying, listen, I trust you like a friend. What's your advice on this car?
On this
Do you think
car.
I should go for it, or should I not? At the time, okay, we're not making the profit because we're not selling the car, but almost in a way, that's still a bonus. That's a brownie point, thinking, wow, he values our friendship and our trust to know that he wants our advice before buying a car from someone else. So
Well, that's it.
the friendship side of thing is really important with clients. And I think especially when it comes to the sales or purchasing side of thing as well, building a relationship with that client is super important to win their business, and especially their long-term business.
That's it. I think, look, we've seen it with our clients for so long that they don't just come in on a Saturday once in a year because they're interested in one car that they've been looking for. That's it, right? Normally, our really good clients are the ones that come in regularly. Oh, I don't know why I'm here. I'm just here. All right, get me a drink. I'm going to sit down. We're going to relax. Going to have a laugh and a joke, and then look around. And then
it's the beauty of having a bar over here.
Yeah.
That idea of coming in. You don't it's a showroom full of some of the nicest cars in the world, but you don't need to be here for that. Let's stand here, have a drink. Let's talk.
But you know what the problem is, right? Every single Clase Azul tequila bottle just goes, and you'll get somebody coming at 9:30 a.m. and then they'll be like coming to get their car. And but can I get a shot of Clase Azul, please? Right.
I think it's fair enough. You buy a car, you can get a shot of Clase
Yeah,
Azul.
exactly.
But the ones that are really annoying, we had a customer yesterday turn up, and I'm sure he seemed like he was on something,
really?
Bouncing from place to place. And it's really hard because it's a juxtaposition you're in. You're almost like, okay, I need to give this guy all the time, and you never judge a book by its cover is super important. But at the same time, I don't want this guy to be wasting my time. So anyways, he's going back and forward, and he's like, oh, I've got a budget of this. And then he's telling me his life story. He's like, oh, I'm going to get 16 million pounds over the next few weeks, blah, blah, blah. But I'm buying a car today. I'm doing it 100%. Okay, brilliant. Really good, really good. Glad you've come over here to do the business. And then comes to the end, and he's like, I'll come back tomorrow with a deposit. I'm like, okay, but thought you're ready to do the deal. And he's like, yeah, but 100% done. This was yesterday. He still hasn't come today for the deposit, by the way. So I'll come tomorrow for the deposit.
What car was it, by the way?
Between an Aston Martin Vantage or an R8 Spider.
Yeah.
Stands at the bar, and he's like, can I have a shot? And I'm like, it's 4:30. He's like, yeah, I want a shot with you. And I was like, no, I'm not drinking. He's like, okay, do you have some water? Just have a shot with me. I'm like, okay. Poured it for him. At the same time, he's saying the right things. He named the lender. He named a person from the lender saying, I'm in discussion with them. I've got pre-approved finance, everything. So I was like, okay, whatever, yeah. Had a shot. The guy's blanked my calls today. Hasn't been in touch. Seemed like, he was just on the back of...
He only came in for the alcohol.
Came in for the alcohol, and then really odd, like every person who spoke to him over here just seemed to say that
he's on
there's
drugs.
Something not right. Yeah, something not right about him.
I mean, we've found drugs in people's cars when they've given them to us for, like to sell or something like that. And then we're just like, you've left something in your car, mate. Can you come pick it up, please? It's just crazy.
Yeah, some of the stuff that happens over there. So, do you know what? Every podcast we do with a guest, you're always giving them the quick fire question round.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's only fair that you get some treatment back. So
Yes.
between Andreas and I, we'd like to go one question by one question as a quick fire round. And it's going to be, we don't have a list in front of us, so it's completely on the top of our head. Yeah. I'm going to start with favourite car brand and model and why.
It's got to be Ferrari, and I still hold a Speciale very close to my heart. I think that was the one that, I was driving around. We had it here. God knows how long ago now. 8 years ago, and 8.5 years ago, I found out that my wife was pregnant, and
8.5 years.
Yeah, man.
Sophia's.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it would have been about 8.5 years ago, and we realized that my wife was pregnant, and I was like super happy, right? Super shocked, but happy. And I was like, let's go and celebrate. But you can't drink now, so we can't go to a nightclub or something. So let's go to a really nice restaurant. And so I found the best restaurant I could find, and they said, if you can be here in 15 minutes, we'll let you in. And basically we lived 40 minutes away, and we got there in 15 minutes.
That is one way.
But no, it was just one of the most beautiful cars I've ever driven. There you go. Boom.
Maison Estelle or Annabelle's?
Oh, Maison Estelle. Hands down.
Why?
Just more relaxed. And for those that don't know, Maison Estelle is a private members club, as is Annabelle's, but Annabelle's is very kind of, shirt, blazer. You have to be very prim and proper when you go in, whereas Maison is a lot more relaxed, and you can wear jeans. And
your favourite way to unwind after a busy day?
Okay, now this is a very good question. Because back in the day, it was wine. And I'm a big wine drinker. Not alcoholic, but I love my wine, right? However, in recent times, what's happened is I've learnt about the benefits of a sauna. And so what I love doing after work is going to the gym, having a workout, and then sitting in the sauna for 15 to 20 minutes. And what I've found is that it's the perfect way to unwind after work.
VW Golf or Lamborghini Urus?
That, believe it or not, is a hard question to answer.
Because you have both, don't you?
I have both. However, I done some racing back in the day. And so I used to love, throwing a car around a track. And the closest thing to that feeling of a really light car that you can actually use the speed and not lose your license, right, is a hatchback. And so at the moment we've got a GTI or whatever it is down here, but I would love to get a what do you call it? The little ones.
GR Yaris.
GR Yaris.
Oh, yeah.
That's my next one. That is something that I'm going to get over the next few months.
End it with this one.
Go on there.
Oh.
It's a bit of a deep one.
Oh,
I was trying to think. Currently, in this moment, after GVE running for 15 years, well, more than 15 years now.
No, it's 15.
15. What is the vision?
15 years of running this. 5 years initially, maybe like the first 4 years in export, and then the next 11 years in supercar sales. The first 4 years, maybe the first 5-6 years in supercar sales was probably the hardest thing ever, right? That it was not easy to get people in and buy cars from us because they were like, who the hell are you? And now, 15 years in, where, I'd be surprised right now if there's somebody that drives a supercar that doesn't know who we are. Mm. Right? So I think that's a testament to where we've come. But where we're going is, I think we have to cement our place as the biggest and most successful supercar showroom in the country. And I think that's the key thing, right? And so when I say most successful supercar showroom in the country, it has to encompass all the different elements of this business as well, be it body shop, detailing, servicing, right? There's not another showroom like us in this country at the moment for supercars, but nor will there be one like in the whole world if we achieve what we want to achieve, right? So I think the vision is, how do we get this business to the next level? How do we start dealing in more hypercars? How do we start dealing, how do we have a lot more showroom space? How do we stock 300 cars? Right now we're at 140, but how do we stock 300 cars? How do we develop a CRM system that's so robust that knows everything about our clients and is the largest CRM database for supercars in the UK, which then can literally match up every single person with what car they desire? That is the vision. But that ultimately the vision should be, how can we solve people's problems, right? And so how can we be the one-stop shop supercar dealership in the UK, and the best one? That's the vision. Okay, guys, so there you have it. So you've learned about what's been going on at GVE lately and what's been happening in the industry, what cars are selling, what cars we're buying, and generally some crazy stories about George and some underwear. But I hope you liked this episode. Please don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and share buttons, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, see you later. Man, Jordan, seriously. Yeah. And so, and
hit the notification
okay.
button.
Okay, and hit the note. And guys, remember to like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to hit the notification button. Until next time, see you later. All right?
That's it.
Let's keep that all that bit at the end, like the chaos. Yeah. Oh, good.